Hello and welcome to Happy Hour again, coming to you today from the beautiful social distancing home studios located in Ventura and Camarillo, California. Welcome back to Happy Hour again. You know, when we get, we're going to do a couple mic checks just to make sure that all the mics are going as we go around the horn here. So co-hosts here, Jason Hendrick and Joby. Hello, fellas.
Hello. You caught me not paying attention. I was trying to get to our hopheadsaid.com commercial, and I totally botched our timing. But as always, the Hophead Said sponsor would like you to know that Happy Hour again is the place to be, and you should keep listening to these three guys because Hophead said.
I feel like we're a bunch of Instagrammers that the camera just turned on, so we had to be like,
Wait, what?
Oh,
here, hand me.
I'm having fun. I'm having fun.
Right, hand me a drill so I can pretend.
Yes.
So I kind of feel more like somebody's grandpa who is napping in his big easy chair, and the kid came around the corner with a smartphone in his face. He's like, "Oh,
what's going on? Hey, what are you guys doing in here?
Somebody bring me a bologna sandwich." So what we were talking about as I was stumbling in from our intro was what the commercial was going to be to open the show, but also how we were going to start advertising and really paying some homage to our opening beverages. So Joby, you were lamenting about how the camera is too bright and doesn't pick up the can art from your particular drink. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I'm keeping it local today. I'm going with the old Chief Peak IPA from Toba Toba.
Oh, very nice.
Yes.
Yeah, in a nice 12-ounce can. What's it called? You know, when you go to the store and the freshest beer is a local beer, so that's what I'm going to go to one of the local beers when I go to the local store. Some of the other stuff, I'm not sure how long it's been around.
I learned to start checking dates on cans. Honestly, I've had a couple of bad experiences. There's nothing like a delicious 7-month IPA that was sitting in the cooler.
Yeah. So yeah, it tastes great. Chief Peak has always been good. Curtis, what are you drinking?
How about you, Curtis? What do you got on the desktop?
Well, I am going. I am not local. I am Trader Joe's in it tonight. So I've got some Bombay Sapphire, and I've got their Villa Italia Italian grapefruit soda that I'm mixing with so light, sparkly, and gin-tastic right now. So we'll see how late this show goes with me starting drinking gin in the opening segment, I suppose.
I feel like you should have a
delicious
hat on right now, though, for your drink. Jason's hat matches your choice of beverage right now.
Right. Well, maybe at the break I can sneak back behind me and get a hat.
Hear that? I'll find a way to Photoshop my hat onto your video feed. That'd be pretty funny.
Well, I think
the gin and tonic.
There should be the Zoom function. You know, the blemish that we were just talking about, how we can brush ourselves up in Zoom. Maybe we can start adding hats and goatees as well.
There's a new function. Come on, Zoom, get on it.
Let's do it. Filter is just like an Instagram. Yeah. Joey, you know the gin and tonic is your typical go-to. I'm a gin guy. I am impressed though, Curtis. I mean, you went for something a little hard up front, not your typical MO.
No.
And in terms of Trader Joe'sing it, you know, we talked last week about how far local meant. We're going to be local again tonight. We're going to talk a lot about cans. Joby, in terms of dates and freshness, you know, you can't get much fresher than local. So I went straight to the source and I brought in some Seaward Brewing. Shout out to our friend Jason. Really delicious IPA. It's called Windshift. It's a West Coast IPA. It's only coming in at 6.5%, but the hops are all there. It's got a nice citrusy aspect to it. So cheers to those guys as well. You know, I think what we've found is that with our restrictions, local is typically the way to go, or in Curtis's, you know, typical mindset, somewhere within 10-minute driving.
Is that a clear IPA? What is going on? That's really weird. It's not hazy.
It's not hazy. He did have some hazies available, and I thought to myself, I've already got a large jug of orange juice in the fridge. I'd rather not add more orange juice.
Oh, man.
Well, I like to.
Not that I'm
I always think about the. I was having a conversation actually with my neighbor who just discovered hazy IPAs, and he was just singing their praises. And I'm like, oh yeah, they've been around for a while. Just I'm trying to think. It was like 3 or 4 weeks ago. I was having a conversation with another friend, and he asked me what did I think about the hazy IPAs, and he was unequivocal that he was ready for them to stop. And I'm like, I like them. I like to go in between the two.
It makes me think of those individuals that like 4 seasons in, like, oh my God, dude, have you seen Game of Thrones? And I'm like, yeah, I've been doing that for a while already. It's pretty good, but now I'm on to the other IPAs. What were some of the other IPA fads that fizzled out, Joby? We had the Brute IPA.
Oh, Brute
That didn't last
IPA.
very long.
Brute IPA died really fast. One that I'm really happy that died, partially because I hate milk, is the Milkshake IPA. I don't know who the hell made that up. Sorry,
but it brought all the beer nerds to the yard.
that was not a good idea. I'm sorry. The Milkshake. You know what I wish would come back though, going way back deep, is there's 2 names for it. There's Cascadian Dark Ale or Black IPA, or Dark. I guess there's 3 names. That is a good, when done right, is a great beer. Like Stone Sublimely Self-Righteous. I remember that one. That was delicious. So
that was one of my favorite.
Wiki Jack that we talked about last time.
Mm-hmm.
We did talk about Wiki Jack. I think it's an interesting deviation. What I didn't like though is when hops. I mean, as we've talked many a time, hops are in every beer on some level of recipe, right? You got to have the bittering agent to balance out the sweetness of the malt up front. But when hops started infiltrating styles that were like distantly removed, such as a hopped stout, those kind of things, I felt like we really jumped the shark when we started just saying, you know what, I got all these extra bags of green leafy things laying around. Why don't I just toss it in the kettle?
Well,
I don't waste my money on the floor, do you?
Let's not forget hoppy sours. Those came around for a bit.
My God.
And yeah, so it's like, well, people like hops, they like sours, so they're gonna love hoppy sours. Yeah, I don't know. I was a big fan of I like imperial stouts. Like those are usually hoppier anyways. And so the dark hoppy. But yeah, I was thinking of Brute. I also remember New England hazy or New England style, which was the birth of hazy. Then it became Juicy IPA. Then it was Hazy Juicy. And now I don't even know what it's called. I don't know if it's.
That's because everybody wants to be their own regional like star and their own regional expert. I mean, I grew up in Indiana, and there's even a Midwestern IPA, which is a little maltier direction. It's almost like in my opinion, maybe a traditional pale ale style, like a Newcastle, or the other one I'm thinking of. Anyway, it's definitely got a darker color range. It's a little sweeter in the malt, and the hops are a little more bitter and prominent. But everybody wants to have we got the West Coast. I think there was even not a Washington IPA. There was somebody that was even more like minute on the West Coast that was trying to kick off their own little subset. And again, eventually you just say, guys, did you have leftover ingredients and you didn't want to throw them in the trash? What's going on here?
I'm still convinced that some of the best ones came out of mistakes. So Hazy IPA was either a mistake, like New England style IPA was either a mistake, and they're like, well, hold on, let's try this first. It's like, oh, that's right, we didn't filter it, or we, excuse me, probably it was because they didn't filter it, or whatever happened. Right. They let it sit too long, dry hopping, or whatever they did, and they're like, well, let's try this first. Oh, you know what? We should not throw this away. This is New England style IPA, and then it was good, right?
Well,
a lot of the best beers.
Right, and I think there's probably plenty of beer geeks out there right now that will correct me on this, but when it comes to the New England, it was just that it wasn't filtered, and if the longer you let it sit, the more clarifications that happen. I mean, there are plenty of times where I brewed 20 gallons of beer, and by the time I got to that fourth keg, that had all filtered out. But when you start adding all of those hops in there too, there is a lot of hop matter that is just floating around, and you end up having what do I say, like a high alcohol content. So then you have all the grain proteins that are there too. So I appreciate those just because I think that helps lend a nice mouthfeel to it. Instead of, say, session IPAs, which are just straight out hop water for me.
That was the other fad, session IPA. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Water with hops. Watery beer with a little bit of
Which
hops.
actually became a thing as well, water with hops. But yeah, session IPA I felt like it was the second runnings of whatever came off the grain, and they threw a little, extra bag of hops on top.
Yeah.
And I understand the fact that some of that stuff you want to milk as much out of your product and your ingredients as possible, because every dollar you sink in, you might be able to get a few dollars back. But I don't know. If I wanted to drink something super quick in the summertime after mowing the lawn, and I didn't really care about, extra flavor or strength, which is what I felt session IPAs fell into, I would just drink a Coors Light or a Banquet like we talked about before.
Well, Jason, that makes me think of, which may be a segue for what's happening for our guests this evening. But in prep for Paradise Pantry with Kelly and Tina coming on here in just a little bit, I was actually looking at some pairings I did with them, and there's a handful of beers that I ended up pairing Pilsner Urquell, and I picked beers that were readily available. And this was in 2012, so this is well before every brewery was doing their own Pilsner anyway. And I'm looking for them right now. I have all of the tabs open, so my browser's working a little slow. But let's see. I'm going to pronounce the first name wrong probably, but Tome de Savoy maybe. It's a creamy cheese.
The cheese, the Tome de Savoy.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. And I put I did an English pale ale with that, but then I also ended up pairing a porter, and then just to round everything out too was a Pilsner on top of it, because there's some flavors in those beers that are just fabulous. And then there was one other one that was kind of grassy.
Anytime you come to a word like that, let me know, because fortunately for me, I dated a girl one time who spoke French and knew French, and so I was able to weave my way in and out of the language.
There it is. And then here's another one, the Terza Birra, which is an Italian, which is made with beer. But that one, there's so many beers or cheeses that pair well with beers just because of the cleansing. But I ended up pairing a Pilsner Urquell with that. And anytime there's a grassy note in the cheese, I always thought that was one of those really great light beers that you could put with those.
You're going to be gushing tonight with our guests too, because
I may be. Yeah, it's possible.
That's okay. I can appreciate that as well. I actually stopped by there on Saturday. I grabbed my can of wine. I've never drank wine out of a can before that I can remember. So my first experience, a little Sauv Blanc. We're going to talk about trends that they're seeing with wine and cheese. I grabbed some charcuterie as well. So I grabbed a raclette style, so a raw cow's milk cheese from called Ashbrook. Thing is a little stinky and creamy and delicious. Goes really well with the Brooklyn cured bourbon cherry salami.
Whoa!
And
wow,
it's amazing. It's delicious. It's sweet. It's meaty. It's got nice chunks of fat. But these are a couple of the styles of product that Tina and Kelly offer at Paradise Pantry in their market. They're using the same products in the restaurant as well. We're going to get into some cool details. I did want to apologize, Curtis, when we were talking about drinks and you said you were doing Sapphire. I for a moment I paused. I went, Jason, look at what you and Joby have done to this poor guy. We've got Curtis as our tech hand. He's doing all the mixing board. He's doing all the file work. You're a production man, and we have driven you to drink gin at the beginning of the show now instead of the end. I apologize for putting so much on your plate lately.
Well, the Bombay. Oh boy, this is going to be long. The Bombay takes the edge off of it. So I appreciate the acknowledgement, but it's the Bombay is taking it the rest of the way.
Speaking of stress a little bit as well, Joby, have you needed a little bomboy lately with the
Bomboy.
restaurant opening and a couple weekends under your belt?
Yeah, no, I'm feeling good. I'm a little tired. That's why I said good morning. I had to bring back the good morning, but yeah, no, the Bombay. I actually, funny enough, I'm drinking less since I opened. So,
What? You mean when you go to work during the day, you drink less?
yeah, it's really bad. So yeah, I mean, I did have a couple of shifties, as the kids say, after I get off work. But I went right for the Pilsner. I just down like it was so last week, a week ago today, and actually the next day it was, 89 in Ventura, which is freaking hot for Ventura with no breeze or anything. But yeah, it was hot, and so yeah, nice Pilsner after shift. So definitely, yeah. I'm definitely getting my steps in for sure. We're walking around, but yeah, no, it's good. It's good to be back. I can't wait to talk to the ladies from Paradise Pantry about the closing. We got to remember to talk about the closing down of Main Street. That's happening, Tuesday. It depends when you're listening to this, but basically June 16th. So that's exciting. We're gonna have it's like just a big street festival. They're not calling it that, but that's what I'm calling it.
Well, that's what's going to happen. Well, for sure.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's not a street festival. Please don't come to downtown Main Street.
Can we call it a mass gathering? What is the designation?
It's not a mass gathering. It's not a mass gathering. It's not a party. Okay. But they're taking everything to the street, which is a really cool concept. I guess they already did it in Santa Barbara on State Street. And
yeah, it screwed up all the traffic patterns in Santa Barbara. Thank you very much.
Whatever, there's consequences.
It does look cool though. It reminds me of being up in like the Santa Clara area by Google up, just by of San Francisco. There are some really great street areas by some of the bigger shopping plazas, and it creates like a big outdoor mall. So the trend for a while was indoor malls with all these little pavilions inside, but you're inside a huge structure. Now it's the same thing, but without the roof. So it's nice to see all those opportunities.
But the city did say there are like something like 2,000 parking spaces in downtown Ventura. I don't know where the other 1,900 are. I found 100 parking structure.
The other 1,999.
There's 1,999 of them somewhere else.
If they would open up the county and city parks and actually go ahead and accept that parking revenue for the booth, ridiculous. I'm going to say like. Then people wouldn't have to park downtown or in the streets. They could actually go into the park area where there are parking spaces for people going to be at the beach.
I think the beach parking is open, but I think so. I don't know. Don't quote me. But it is funny to where we are now to where we were, and everything that everybody's allowed to do versus what we couldn't do. We talked about throughout quarantine to go beer, to go alcohol, delivery alcohol. Now we're in the parking lot. Now we're going to close down Main Street. We have party outside. Like, I don't know. I hope some of this stuff sticks. Like, some of it's really cool, and I hope it sticks around. And I hope that, some of the powers that be realize, like, we're adults. We can handle some of this.
Ooh, that's a tall order.
Mostly.
It is a tall order. I get it. I think we can.
Don't put any more white streaks in Curtis's hair. He's already anxious about all the people being
I know. Curtis, you'll be happy or unhappy to know that downtown Ventura was packed again this weekend. So I'm not sure. I didn't check anybody's ID to see where they were from, but there were definitely a lot of people on the streets. I had to give nod to Jason. There were tons of people out. I mean, it was beautiful out. It was so nice out. And then speaking of course,
and everywhere else, like you said, was a freaking scorcher. Up in Ohio, it was a $1.04. Yeah. Wednesday, I had to go down to the warehouse where I work in the City of Industry, and it was like 105, 106, something like that. So I give praise and thanks every morning I wake up, and there's just a little hint of breeze and sunshine out my window because I'm paying extra in taxes to really enjoy this weather. 15 years, almost 16 years out here in California from Indiana. I still can't get over the cost of living, but there are most mornings I wake up and go, all right, I'll endure one more day. I'll spend a little extra money one more day.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's not too bad.
So rather than running over into our guest time, Curtis, should we take a little break and let them in the room?
That seems like a good idea. We'll take a 5-minute break here. Joby, Jason, and I wanted to encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and Facebook page at Happy Hour Again, and follow us on Instagram at happyhour_again. Hey, welcome back to Happy Hour Again. Thanks for giving us a few extra minutes on that break. It turns out that when somebody who's drinking gin from the get-go before the show starts, that they aren't the best technical troubleshooters for guests when they have to come on and having trouble getting connected. So it's all my fault. I took full responsibility for that right there, right off the bat. I did see...
That is a true and genuine host and leader right there. Thank you.
Well,
Chris.
you know, I try to do my best. I did see, however, that we've got a few people in the chat room. So if you have any questions along the way for Tina and Kelly from Paradise Pantry, feel free to put that in there. There's also a few of them that are telling us that they're drinking in the chat room. So, you know, hey, share what you're drinking and let us know how that's going for you. I'll let you.
I like that. We should start using that, Curtis. Hashtag drinking in the chat room. Leah says she's drinking tequila and limonada.
There you go. That's working all right. So we really want to give a really warm welcome to Tina Thayer and Kelly Briglio from Paradise Pantry. So right now we have Tina on. Kelly will be here momentarily, but Tina, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Tina, while we were getting ready, you know, planning for today, I was actually looking at a number of beer and cheese pairings that I did with you and Kelly, and I think this was 2012, a long time ago, actually. And just reading through, and it's one of my first interviews where I went out in the field and was actually asking people to help and to collaborate with cheese pairings. I mentioned a couple of them before we got going, and one of my favorites was the let me pull this up. It was the Cabot cloth bound. Do you still have that? Do you carry that?
We do on and off. We don't have it in right now. We usually kind of rotate through a few different cloth bound cheddars, but that is one of my favorites.
And so I ended up pairing an IPA with it. I paired quite a few of IPAs with cheeses. Imagine that, right? But then I also paired an American brown with it, which is what I think was that there was some sort of like this really I'm trying to think of what the term, maybe nutty flavor I get in with that cheese, and that brown ale just was so nice for that. Anyway, so I was going to.
I told you, Curtis. I knew you were going to be gushing as soon as they came on. I knew
right.
that the beer and the cheese is all going to mix into the middle for you. And I think what's exciting timing-wise with your gushing is that we got Kelly on. She just joined. Welcome, Kelly. And Kelly runs the kitchen and really the culinary engine for Paradise Pantry. Can probably talk about why those cheeses and that nice, rich, malty beer you were talking about, Curtis, go well together. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, guys. I'm so sorry I couldn't figure this out. I'm probably one of the only people that haven't Zoomed in this pandemic.
Well, congratulations. That is a feat.
Sad.
That
so
is a
behind
feat.
the
No,
times.
not sad. That's beautiful in the fact that, like we were saying before the break, before we came into this next segment, Paradise Pantry really has weathered the storm in terms of staying open through restrictions. So it makes sense you haven't been Zooming because you've been in the kitchen and at the restaurant with Tina, really keeping that thing pumping and moving. So Curtis was just talking about his love and affinity for cheese and beer, especially Cabot cloth-bound cheddar with.
Hey, hi, Curtis. By the way,
Hi.
I didn't really know much about everything that was happening tonight, but I remember you and your great beer.
Yay! Well, I was just right before you caught on. I was just describing that I think it was your the collaboration we did was one of the very first collaborations where I was reaching out to people, experts in their field, and trying to find beer pairings. And that
was so fun.
Yeah, and it always made sense to me. And at the time, there wasn't a whole lot, but boy, that field has really blown up. I've got a couple books on beer and cheese right now for sure.
Yeah, you kind of leaded the way on that. That's really cool. That's great.
Well, I had an idea and then I wasn't able to capitalize on it. I think is what it was.
We've called Curtis a
Was
lot of
I-
things, and Curtis had a lot of names, but Trailblazer sometimes isn't one of them. Exciting! It's exciting to have you guys, both you ladies, on though, as we were talking about the fact that a lot of restaurants did either pivot to close or pivot to online orders only, and I feel like Tina and Kelly, you both had some vision in terms of sticking to your identity, but offering the food in a different model. Can you talk a little bit about how that fast decision was made and why you were able to weather the last 3 months?
For me, I do believe it's doing just everything you can, doing what it takes. We are fortunate to have done so much takeout as we were doing the in-house table service that, it wasn't an odd thing for me to go. I mean, it was hard, it was difficult, and it was interesting getting rid of all the plates and just doing that. Definitely had to be quick on our feet, but we've both been always dedicated, and we'll just work the hours till we can get it figured out. But like I said, we're fortunate to have already cuisine that can kind of stand a little takeout, not everyone has that opportunity.
Shit, that makes sense because Joby, I'm a wing lover and your wings are always delicious, but sometimes when you put wings in a box and send them home, the steam of the wing as it's traveling, soggy's the crispiness, or not all food travels well, I guess is what I'm really trying to get to.
I'd say that.
Not all food travels well. Quality food, we have, we have a standard, and we want to keep that standard, and trying to figure out a way that it will go home with you, maybe sit a couple hours, or maybe it's the whole take home and heat yourself, which we've never done before. So that was very new for us, and but every special that we come up with, we're just hoping, we're not really quite sure. when we get some good feedback, that's kind of how we move forward. And we're like, let's push it to this, and then let's push it to that. But we already had, cheese plates are a great travel companion. Mac and cheese travels fantastically. Sandwiches do. And if you cook the proteins right, you can take that home, but still it's losing something. It's been a struggle, but at the same time, I feel fortunate to have already the menu that's a little bit, has already kind of helped us. It was easier for us to wrap our head around, I guess.
Okay, I think we just lost our esteemed
We lost our esteemed host. That's right. He was definitely frozen. Somebody in the chat room a few minutes ago was talking about how we were frozen in and out, and I said that was our new Frozen/Pixar sponsorship. So anyone who's experienced the Mr. Roboto for Curtis, we apologize. But Tina, thinking about the other side of the restaurant, because for those of you listening, you may never have been to Paradise Pantry. You may not know the setup and the structure. Half of the building that you're in is dining room restaurant space. The other half is market. Have you seen a steady flow of patrons coming through and stocking their own shelves through your market? Was there a nice supplement in that regard?
Yes. People, in times like this are looking for something to kind of be a little bit different because, you have your staples at home and you can go to the grocery store and get pickles and mustard and, you can get cheese, but when you're really kind of, that's all you have to look forward to all day is kind of being able to come into the market. You could get a taste of the world. And, we've had a lot of people come in that were, supposed to be on vacation in Italy and they wanted to buy Italian cheeses and meats and wines and, try to recreate some semblance of what their canceled vacation could have been in any way possible. So we've definitely had people coming in that are just looking for, like I said, spice up, just step up kind of a little bit of what they're, the normal pantry staples and maybe just get a little twist on them.
Yeah. Is there something that you guys have tried that has worked out that you're now going to stick with? Is there something that you've something that you didn't do before that you're now like, this is something we could do from now on and it works?
Yeah.
You want to answer that, Tina? I'm not sure. I don't want to step on.
So, sorry,
go
I didn't
for
say who that was for.
Well, I mean, the whole sending people home with the cooking instructions, giving the dinners for two, the mac meals, sending people home with the cooking instructions has been kind of fun. I miss having people in the restaurant and that pulse for sure, but that's something we'll probably stick to. So people that aren't going to feel comfortable for a very long time going into a restaurant seating, we're going to still try to have give them an opportunity to recreate those meals at home, and take a little bit of paradise home and still have that quality. We were never focused on takeout before, never focused on takeout. Now we're going to always be at least paying attention to it, especially until things are a little different here.
And I like that phrase, take a little paradise home, because we didn't even really get into the origins of Paradise Pantry. And I feel like it's important for those listeners to understand kind of where you guys came, or where you ladies came from. I don't know why is guys always such an embedded phrase? Where you strong, affluent business
I'm
ladies.
fine with that. I'm from the kitchen. You just say you guys, that's fine.
Touche.
No worries.
But honestly, I mean, both of you ladies have been in Ventura and rooted as a fixture in Paradise Pantry as a name in Ventura for over 10 years. I remember going to the first shop, which is a tiny little space where it felt like if you turned around, you're bumping into the wine rack, or you had to step over wine boxes to get to the restroom. Can you give us a little sense of like your journey so far and how you've become such a prominent name in the Ventura area and Ventura County?
Take it away, Tina.
Come on, front of the house, get with it.
I don't know that we set out to do anything in particular other than just create a space in Ventura that served and stocked what we wanted to have around. We're just very fortunate that it seems like we are in a community that was also looking for the same thing. Because there really was just an idea in a quick conversation that turned into the first Paradise, and then it was just another kind of random, oh hey, this space down the street's open, should we move? So
why not?
Why not? Let's just do this again. So I think a lot of it is just it just passion for what we serve, what we do, and when you like what you eat there. I mean, I still walk into work every day and I'm like, I love cheese. Like everyone jokes, I eat more cheese than probably any other human on the planet. So I think it's like, when you're around the stuff that you love, and it's easy to share and to talk about and to get other people excited about it. And I think we're coming from a sense of honesty. Like we care about what we're serving because we love what we're serving, and we, what Kelly does in the kitchen, it translates out when you get the food. It's beautiful. It's amazing. And it's, a little piece of her that she's putting in every one of those dishes that, you can taste the difference. And a lot of places are built for different reasons, and there's different motivations with bottom lines and stuff like that, where we probably should look at a bottom line every once in a while, but somehow,
Oh, just no.
That's boring. Why would you want to do that? That's boring stuff.
But yeah,
then we can't wrap our business around our addictions. No.
Yeah, right. I love that. That's awesome.
But that's beautifully put. That encompasses all my thoughts. Absolutely.
Do you ladies feel that 10 years ago, has it been 10 years already? Was that accurate what Jason said?
We are 13 years old this month.
Is it
Happy birthday.
Happy
to
birthday.
us.
That's awesome.
Cheers.
We're teenagers now.
Total teens.
Oh,
Was there
teenagers
ever
are scary individuals.
I know. You made it past all the different milestones. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising.
Things have been changing so fast and so many things have happened. It's almost like you don't even have the opportunity to get bored, which I guess is fantastic when you're working, when you're working that hard. But it's been a good ride.
I think we
Grateful.
lost our co-host again, Jason.
And thinking about evolution, you know, I took a little video on Saturday in preparation for the show and a promo. As I mentioned, the other shop, little tiny, there was wine kit, you know, boxes and racks everywhere. You're in a bigger space now. What we didn't talk about is that space that you're in now was the space that you've worked in prior to Paradise Pantry. Is that correct?
That's where Tina and I met.
What was the name of that space when you both first met?
West Side Cellar.
What's that?
Back, gosh, I opened that almost 17 years ago. Yowza.
Yowza,
Talk
17 years ago.
Teenagers.
So there's been a lot of changes in the wine industry over that time. And one of the things that we were talking about before you both came on was the fact that now wine is in an aluminum can. On Tina's recommendation, and thank you, Tina, it's a really nice Sauv Blanc, but I got the Hunt and Harvest Sauv Blanc in an aluminum can. I would have never thought I would be drinking wine out of a can this day and age. So what are you seeing trend wise? How do you think we came to this place? And why do I actually like it when it's in an aluminum can?
Well, you know, it's a lot easier to take cans to the beach. So
Yeah, come on, Jason, let's get real.
I'm sorry I didn't have my tan lines taken care of, so I haven't gone to the beach with wine just yet.
That is the answer for everything. Can you take it to the beach?
I do think, you know, the industry, they're always looking, you know, for changes. You know, I mean, we've seen screw tops and all sorts of different kinds of corks and what makes things convenient. A lot of the, I guess, kind of newer movement wines have been testing out cans and obviously kegs because you can get wine on tap now. Not all cans are good. Definitely throw that out there.
Well, not all bottles are good either. So
True, but it's the can thing at first was kind of, you get a metallic taste, and I don't know if how wineries are actually combating that, but yeah, we have some really great canned wine that we're able to, you know, offer to people so that, you know, you don't have to deal with the glass bottle. Do like to throw the warning out there that even though it just looks like not that big, it is a half bottle of wine. So if you drink a couple of those and feel a buzz, it's not weird.
It's so convenient in so many ways.
That's right. Right. I love it. I'm a fan. I mean, I agree. Not all. I think part of the can thing is the actual cans themselves, because the beer industry with the same concept. The cans were metallic and tasted pretty nasty, and then they've developed different cans with liners, I guess, that, you know, the beer stays fresher and not so metallic. So I'm a fan of the wine on tap too. I like the fact that you can you get a lot of volume of wine, and then I like the fact you can put it into like another container, like a growler or a bottle, and you don't have that waste, you know, of if you pour only one glass. I wish I had wine on tap at home. Actually, that sounds good. One beer tap and one wine tap.
That's truly a little paradise right there.
That would be awesome, because, you know, you open a bottle of wine. I mean, you can drink a bottle of wine. Let's face it. I think everybody here could drink a bottle of wine, or at least half a bottle. And then you have to, you know, you cork it, and then maybe you forget about it, and then the wine goes bad, obviously. So I think that's what's cool about the cans, and also the keg wine, is that it's not going to go bad on you as fast or at all.
Right.
So Curtis touched on something leading into the break, and I want to make sure we're not diminishing it just to gender, but I think it's important, and I find it really almost empowering to see how much success you've had. One of the, you know, in my observation and in my opinion, the very few really strong and prominent female-owned, but also largely female-staffed businesses in Ventura. How do you think that that's perceived by the community? Does that matter to you as owners, that, you know, you're such a female-focused organization? Or do you wish it was just Paradise Pantry and not that focused? Am I putting too much onus on it? Ooh,
I
awkward pause.
I mean,
I don't think we focused on that.
Yeah, I
Go
don't
ahead,
think it's like, yeah, I don't think it's something we thought about when we decided to do this. It just, you know, we just both happened to be women when we came up with the plan. And I don't it is odd that we do have so many women that work for us, which is kind of cool. I think it's just the kind of place we are, and like there's, you know, we have some great guys that work for us, but they tend to, you know, have to have a little more attention to detail. And I don't know, there's just something about the way we run the business that I think, I mean, sounds weird to say, but women like strive better in our environment than, not that men do, but maybe than they would in other places. And so we tend to have a lot more longevity with our employees. So
can we just be honest? Also, we don't have a lot of men that give us applications to work there. We don't have a lot of people applying for a job. We don't have a lot of men applying for a job. We're like, we look at each other and we're like, okay, we have to, let's get some, you know, get a few men at least to work in the front. Like there's a little balance. It doesn't look like we're just a female like engine here. But really we just don't have a lot of opportunity with applications. The majority is women that sign up. We have wonderful women and we have a few wonderful men that work with us, and we're just very lucky on both ends. But we don't have, it's just the majority is usually women that are applying to work with us.
yeah.
I think about the Ruth Bader Ginsburg quote of when somebody was asking her when are there going to be enough women on the Supreme Court, and she said when all of them are women. So, you know, it's one of those. It's an interesting. I don't know. That we notice something like that, and then that's out of the ordinary, maybe, I don't know, you know, so that it shows up when it's really just, you know, this is there was for all the way up until now, if there was all men working at one spot, then we wouldn't necessarily know it, but we're just looking for and you know, I have a daughter, and just looking for role models, you know, to see that out in the space outside of the house, and say, yeah, you know, you could be an entrepreneur or an engineer or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah. I do think our clientele is very female dominated as well. So I think that might play a little bit of a role in the type of people who come in to apply. And we typically like look around the restaurant, and it's usually 80% or higher women. Like, gets real loud.
I
think that's, for me,
I think
this
that's
is a fun. I was gonna say, for me,
Right,
this is a fun educational moment as well, because you mentioned, you know, attention to detail and, you know, some of the things that may be missing between male applicants and female applicants. Enlighten me. What do I need to bring to the table if I want to work at Pairings Pantry? And I'm not trying to be sarcastic. I'm being serious. Because I think you touched on, if I were able to read in between the lines, everyone has a role and everyone has a right fit. So you meant, the word that you brought up was environment. What kinds of things do you think really match your identity? Because I love going there as a patron, but honestly, I don't know if I could see myself working there as an employee. And that's just because I see that there's a lot of hard work and there is a lot of attention to detail, and that's not always my strong suit.
Yeah,
I don't know.
like I said, I don't know exactly what to say, but I do think it's a really fun place to work, but you have to really love what you're doing, because like I said, it's all about passion for us. So our staff kind of has to get on board with that. And I don't, like I said, so it kind of makes sense that since you have to really, you know, want to be a customer at the same time, the fact that we have such a strongly like female, more so in the restaurant. I would say the market is a little bit more mixed, but I think it's also, women are always looking for a place to go with other women where they feel safe and comfortable, and you know, that it's just, I don't know, there's something about our environment, it just brings women in.
Hey, Jason, you could totally work at Paradise Pantry. Okay?
I was waiting for you guys to ask. I was wondering.
Okay. Literally,
Hint,
but
hint, hint.
it's not. We really just don't have a lot of male applicants, and so that's just the way it's come up. Yes, we have a team that is totally focused on attention to detail, or that's how they do bring that in, and we train them, and then they go off and really explore their own capabilities. There's just really not a lot of male applicants. And I think I am proud of the business that we've created. I'm proud of all the employees that are there. Half my team in the back is definitely, there's definitely a male presence in the kitchen. And they have attention to detail on all that great stuff, but I've had the applicants for that. And, you know, when you're not given really the opportunity to experiment so much with that, it's hard to kind of, I don't really know what to say. I think that anyone can bring something to the table, but you have to be very passionate about wine and cheese. And we just really haven't had, it's literally something like 5% to like 95%. So we're looking at a very small margin when it comes to applicants. And then it's
Sure.
also timing. So.
And I can appreciate that.
Like
And
if we're
I guess
looking
I'll
for
close
someone
with the
when
fact
someone does apply. But Jason, you'd have a job, 100%.
All right, excellent. I appreciate that. And I guess really what I want to finish with on that topic is that I'm encouraged by the fact, though, that the staff does have the mix and the dynamic that it does, because it does provide a feel, it provides a welcome and an energy that, you know, really, if someone were asking me about Paradise Pantry, I could explain it quickly and say, you got to check it out. But one of the other things that really identifies Paradise Pantry is the Killer Mac. And we can't leave tonight. We got plenty of time to talk, but we got to get the Killer Mac in. Where are the origins of Killer Mac? Why is it killer? Tell me about this ooey gooey deliciousness.
I'm self-taught. I had no rules. So as soon as I figured out my standard mac recipe, I was just like, well, let's do this then. And then if we can do this, why can't we do this? And literally almost any idea, and right now I can't think of an idea someone's given me that I've said no to, I might be able to recreate anything out of mac and cheese. So I'm not trying to give myself too many kudos here. I just haven't been, I just have seen ideas come to life in these things, and some have worked and some have been like, oh, I don't want to really do that again, but we did make it work for a second, you know? So
don't deny yourself the kudos though. My favorite is the French onion mac.
I gotta have some kudos. I work in a kitchen 60 hours a week. I mean, I have to
Do
have
it.
kudos, okay?
Pat on the back.
You know, it's burn and learn. I started with the standard. We perfected that recipe, or I think I tried to perfect that recipe. And with the killer, we just don't let we have no walls, no borders for that. It's just like, if you have an idea, you can email me, you can like Facebook me and just be like, I really want to see this. And heck, it's hard after so many years to come up with a new idea every week. So I definitely revisit favorites, but if anyone has any fun ideas, you can email us, and I can try to make it happen. So far, so good.
Yeah.
I think.
Has there ever been
And
one
hey, also, I'd like input if you think I didn't do a good job. I really appreciate that, but just be nice about it, you know?
I love it. I was wondering, is there ever one where you're like, I'm not going to try that? Or have you tried every single one that you've been approached with?
Are you asking me if I've tried every idea that has been given?
Have
Yeah,
you
or have
eaten
you
a
ever-
bite of every one you've made?
Or have you seen something and you said, I'm not making a mac out of that?
I mean, when I put fresh persimmons and bacon, like I didn't really know how persimmons were going to work out in a cheese sauce. Like, no, I've pretty much tried everything. And yes, there's been ones that I'm like, if I do that again, it's going to be different. It's going to be better. One thing about Paradise Pantry, and I'm grateful for my business partner, Tina, is we both are on this whole, like, no idea is perfect. It can always be more fantastic. We can always just try to be better every time. So that's why input and talking to our customers and being a part of the community is so important to us, because we don't think we stop learning. Give me those killer mac ideas. Let me know how I did, you know, and we'll keep revisiting the favorites, and we'll keep trying to make new ideas happen.
So I think before we go, I mean, we've got somewhere 15, 20 minutes to still chat, but I'm interested in what your favorite cheese pairing is now.
I knew you were coming back to the damn cheese pairings, Curtis.
only because I'm similar to Tina in that I will eat any cheese that comes through the house. And when we go out on family vacations or we're road trip and those kinds of things, so breweries are the first things on the list, and then we're the creameries. That's number two. And so we're always trying to pick that up. But I'm just curious from both of you two, what are those magical cheese pairings that you've had? And then whether it's wine or spirits or beer, whatever it happens to be.
There's so many.
Okay, so let me do this. We can narrow it down to one or two. How's that?
Tina, this is perfect for you. She's definitely
Be careful
the cheese
because
queen.
Curtis,
I'm
if you
like
cut
the,
his
I'm
veins,
the
he's got
queen of
fondue in
cream.
his
She's the
veins.
queen of cheese.
Oh geez, it's so, I mean, perfect pairings are so difficult because you really have to get beer, I guess I don't know that much about, but I know with wine, the bottle's constantly evolving. So, I mean, you're always, and obviously a producer, so you can do generics like Pinot Noir and this cheese typically go well. But I guess I have to say, like, oh, I don't even know. Wow.
So I just drank a Gruner Veltliner from Colombia from Savage Grace, and I had a piece of Leonora goat cheese from Spain, and it was magical. And those things happen every day with us. It is really hard to pinpoint one, but that I just had that. So that was.
So what made it magical?
Hold on,
What
slow
was
down.
it
Curtis is taking
that-
notes.
Well, Leonora is just very creamy. It's just one of the most beautiful, like it's just an elegant Spanish goat cheese. It's one of the favorites probably in the house. And the Gruner Veltliner from Savage Grace from Colombia is just that crisp, clean. I mean, you want that crisp, nice acidic white wine to kind of go with those creamy goat cheeses with a little bit of tang. You know, that's a common pairing. But when you to really get the pairing perfect, you have to try the two. And sometimes you think something's going to work and it doesn't. And sometimes you just happen to have it on your table because you're trying not to be nervous for a Zoom meeting. And, and it's just like the most perfect thing you put in your mouth. So.
Wait, this seems like a pairing that happened about 25 minutes ago then.
45, but who's counting?
Oh, 40. Okay. And a half a bottle or 2 cans.
Also, like, Tina, when we try those sheep milk cheeses and you get like a nice, when you get those Bordeaux blends, the Cabs or the Cab Francs, and you get those really nice sheep milk cheeses, it kind of blows your mind too. So there's so much fun to be had. The best source of knowledge when you get in is to basically grab Tina because she's always there and go straight to the cheese market. Actually talk to the girls at the cheese market, do some sampling, grab a couple pieces of cheese, show Tina what you got, and she'll give you a couple ideas of what wines pair with that. That's really a super strength, a superhuman strength that she has.
Tina, Kelly, and Joby, because you just mentioned Tina's always there, and I'm formerly of the restaurant industry. I don't claim nor do I envy anyone who has lived through this last 3 months of hiccups, hurdles, challenges related to COVID and restriction. So talk to me about what it's like to be in the restaurant during these last 3 months. Because Joby, you are back in an active role to your own restaurant. So Tina and Kelly, I know you've been very hands-on. What is the vibe right now as a restaurant owner?
Wow, that's a loaded question, Jason. Tina, you
well, you have to
Everyone's
be
gonna defer.
hands-on.
how much time do we have? What did you say? How much time do we have?
You
been a
have
ride.
to be hands-on right now. I don't know how anyone would do this if they weren't there. I mean, every day is like something new. It's just it's been an ever-changing world across the boards, and you just have to be present right now. And I couldn't imagine trying to run a business and not actually being in there and seeing what it's like and what customers need and like what the staff needs and just to be there to support, because it's I don't think you'll find anyone that says this is fun right now. So it's you know, you got to be there with your team and, you know, participating so that it's not, I don't know. I mean, anyone who's working through this right now with us we're just so grateful that they come to work, because they're doing jobs that they didn't get hired to do. You know, they're servers, they want to take care of tables, and now they're answering phones and putting, you know, boxes and bags and, you know, personal shopping for people on the phone. And, you know, you just got to be there to help guide, support, and, you know, things are changing on a dime as to, you know, when we're open, what's open, what you can do, what you can't do, what customers think is okay, what's, you know, what they want, and if we can accommodate it, you know. So it's just it's
Bob and weave.
yeah. So I think it just can't be imagined not being there and trying to, you know, dictate what's going on.
So I have two things for you. One, are you guys, we should ask, are you guys open at all for any type of dine-in?
We are trying to figure that out.
Okay.
We're just
We are
a
trying to
small
make a unique
space.
spot, very small.
Yeah. And the second thing is there's something exciting, and I want to know what your thoughts are about it. To me, it's exciting. I'm not on Main Street, but as being a downtown person, I think it's exciting. Is that, you know, as we're talking right now, as we edit this, Main Street downtown Ventura is going to be closing, right, for a sort of a outdoor. We called it a festival earlier, but it's not supposed to be a festival, but an outdoor dining experience. Are you going to be participating in that?
They're not closing our block, so we get to be on the outside.
I am so sorry.
Thank you.
So
What do you mean they're not closing
on
your
a very
block?
honest,
I thought they were
but
closing
not
the
so
whole
honest
thing.
note, we're very happy for
We're happy for everybody else.
I'm so sorry. I thought they were closing. Jason, you too,
But
right? I thought they
what's
were
the
closing.
Okay, let's dig into this for a second. We got plenty of time. We got 14 minutes in this segment. What is the criteria? Why
We are
block with-
merchants in downtown.
there are at least 3 or 4 restaurants in your block. Why are they not closing your space?
There's 5. It is.
Or-
So
Or-
Jason, we've
And
been
obviously
doing this
nobody
for
is
a while.
counting, right?
How politically correct do we have to be right now?
You know, we still
No,
want to
we're very. No, listen,
No, we're
Tina.
just-
Before we say anything, we are 100% excited for our downtown community. This
Yes.
is great. When we found out that our block was not included, it definitely took a little wind out of the sails. We don't really have any opportunity to seat outside right now, so we're kind of scrambling. But excited for our community, absolutely. Excited for how we're going to work around it. That excited wouldn't be the word, but I think that I think we'll prevail and we'll be fine. And we just hope nobody forgets about us because we don't have a cool walkway in front of us, nor do we even have a patio.
Or
But
any
you know what?
outside
This
tables.
is a good time. Can I plug the air conditioning? Can I plug the air conditioning on the show? We have it.
Yes,
You could definitely plug the air conditioning.
So in a
And if-
couple weeks, when dine-in seating is possible, we'll have a few tables that can have some air conditioning. Guys, come on.
And if we need to lobby for you, if there's someone we can call and advocate for you, we will do that. And if you want to run for some kind of office or political position, Kelly, because you pivoted so beautifully, I commend you. You said the right thing. But honestly, I'm discouraged. Like, why wouldn't? Anyway, we'll get into that offline.
It's, you know, it's just our block is interesting, and it has to do with police and fire access without us having a cross street at Figueroa.
Oh, safety kind of stuff. Yeah, boring.
Yeah.
There's
Or at
always-
least
I
that's how
saw a
they
fire
are.
truck in your
Sometimes they
parking
gotta
lot, Joby.
shut up.
I sincerely apologize. We thought you guys. I did not look at the map
Oh.
closely enough to figure out if you were on.
No,
there.
you're not the only person. Everybody thinks that it's going
Everybody's
on.
happy for you. Everybody's happy for you. But you know
Yeah,
what?
so we're trying to figure out things. So if people are fans of Paradise, you know, sign up for our newsletter and hit us up on Instagram, because we're constantly letting people know what's happening, because honestly, it's a touch and go. Every day is a little bit different, and we're going to be trying to do things differently all the time to just try to compete and be out there like serving great food. Maybe we can have a little spot on that walkway where people can take their to-goes.
That's a beautiful transition. Check out Paradise Pantry on Instagram or paradisepantry.com. Get signed up for that newsletter, because that's where Tina and Kelly are going to give you all the updates on their menu, what the specials are each week. I will lobby for you to have a little space on that walk. I want you to be, even if we have to sit people on the fountain, for Christ's sake, get those butts in the seats.
We appreciate that. I feel like a lot of people feel that way, so we feel pretty we feel pretty supported. So we'd be panicking a lot more at this 1 second if we fell into that a little bit.
Oh man,
kind of fight or flight mode, I guess.
My head is spinning, Jason, with ideas like stop at Figueroa, let it open up again, and then close it again. Like there are ways to do this.
I feel like
I know.
Leave the access.
We've really worked on it. We've been, whatever seconds we have, whatever seconds we do have that aren't on like really doing our jobs, we're trying. So everyone just stay tuned, because we're constantly trying to reinvent and figure stuff out.
That's the beauty and the pitfall of being too close to the mission, because I guarantee you want to read between the lines. It's the concern about access to the mission and safety and fire prevention of the mission. So you've got a beautiful backdrop normally of the mission, but also they want to make sure the trucks can get there if anything goes crazy. Lobby for Paradise Pantry to have some patio or sidewalk seating. Write your congressman, reach out to your local legislature.
Yeah, we're going for a parklet. Jason keeps saying parklet.
Well, I predict that when everybody's
and
outside,
until then, I'm going to keep drinking really good wine, because that makes everything fine, honey.
when everybody's outside, you can advertise that you have air conditioning and just switch it around and be like, oh, that's great. You guys are all outside. But if you want to be inside, there's very exclusive tables with air conditioning. So
when it's running 98 degrees, everybody's going to want to be inside.
That's right. That's right.
And with us, come on. Just kidding.
Sorry. Company is top notch.
So
I know people are waiting to see Tina again and talk to her and have her serve them a bottle of wine. So I feel like that it's still a pull for us.
And as you mentioned, Kelly, wine is always fine. But if there was one item for both of you that would draw in a customer that they've never been able to find anywhere else, or that they've never been able to taste somewhere else, give us something that's going to put butts through the door at Paradise Pantry.
You just stopped me in my tracks. You know why?
I heard
because everything is unique to Paradise Pantry. Everything is a specialty to us. Definitely everyone's making their own version of stuff. I've taken ideas and started with them, and then I've just tried to keep improving them. I guess maybe, what do you think, Tina? Like the spicy fish soup is kind of one of those, everyone wants the recipe, and I've had it in all 3 restaurants I've owned and that kind of thing. Like, is that
I heard you won't even give that recipe to your mother.
Nope.
Certainly not Mama D. No way.
She'd tell everyone, and she wouldn't even realize she was telling everyone. She's like, that recipe you want? Let me get it to you.
So, Jason, I like where your head's at with this. Normally we ask our guests, what's one drink or, one beverage that, when we started this during quarantine, we said, what's your quarantine beverage if you could only have one beverage? But I feel like with you ladies, it's only appropriate to say, what food item, if it was the only thing that you could have, what would that be for each of you?
Well, if we're going to get specific, it'd probably just be cheese for me, because it is like 80% of my diet. If I don't have to pick one cheese, I'm totally fine.
Oh, I was going to make you pick one cheese.
I'd say it was the spicy fish soup. It's got a lot of fans. and it's very unique to us. But everything down to our desserts and every dressing that we serve is something that I created, and then I think I've gotten it to where I want it. I'm always trying to find better ways and tastier ways to do things, but they're all unique. Everything that you do get at Paradise, every condiment on a sandwich, everything is our own unique recipe, handwritten in a book somewhere that no one will know about.
Nobody knows where it is.
And I feel like, Curtis, you're going to have an opinion on my next question, but Tina, you mentioned cheese as a blanket statement. And as a lover of cheese, let's talk about guilty pleasures. Do you have a specific flavor, or have you ever guiltily enjoyed spray can cheese?
Yes.
No.
Cheese whiz? Are we talking
No?
cheese whiz?
As a cheese lover,
Cheese
you've never
whiz.
had spray can cheese on top of a Ritz cracker?
I don't
You
know.
miss
I like that
out.
you're
That's
calling it
exactly
spray-
right, Jason.
spray
I'm
can
with you
cheese. That's a
100%.
very
Oh, no, I am such a brat.
Curtis, I feel like spray can cheese and a Ritz cracker could go deliciously with a porter.
sounds great. Right, it sounds great right now, actually.
I think
I
there's. I think the
Anything
spray
in a
can
spray
cheese.
can is pretty fun. You guys can't you
Right.
can't discredit something in a spray can. It's fun. It's fun. And
But
on a
it's-
Ritz cracker, I mean, who doesn't love a Ritz cracker?
But I really think that if you're doing spray can, that means you can get rid of the crackers altogether, and it just right down, right into the pie hole, right? Like whether it's spray can whipped cream or spray cheese, it's the same thing.
Oh.
Like you go right
And our
past
whipped
whatever it was
cream.
supposed to go on.
Actually, I would die without our whipped cream. I love our whipped cream.
Curtis, you're a
Speaking of.
dirty, dirty man.
I'm just saying, who needs
I
the
think
crackers when it's coming out of a can?
everything has its place. Little cheese whiz has its place in time. Thank God Paradise Pantry is the anti-cheese whiz, but I appreciate.
All right, so I want to morph this question just real quick as we get ready to close out these final minutes. Front of the house, Tina. Back of the house, Kelly. What's one item each that you're sneaking out of the prep fridge on your way out the door at closing time?
Wine. Did I say that?
Wait, did I say that out loud? What? I've been
Tina's
drinking
like,
for 2
"Geez,"
hours.
I'm like, wine. I eat
Tina's like, no
organic
wonder my
vegetables
inventory's
from
off every
farms all
month.
day long.
Oh, there's a whole budget for chef wine. Don't worry.
Yeah. There's like a whole other thing. I have my wage, and then I have my wine wage.
Wine wage.
Haven't you heard of wine wages?
No, but that sounds great, actually. Jason, would you like to work for wine wages?
I
Wine
would
wages.
I wouldn't mind wine wages. I know when we used to really sift through the vendor beer and other things at the restaurant, we called it owner's equity. So whatever phrase you want to put it under.
Yeah, Jason taught me that, owner's equity. It's nice. I used to call it just drinking.
But on a serious note, we are pretty spoiled with the we bring in product that we're in love with. So every day is different. Every mood and we're also women that, every mood when you leave work is different. So it's either a bottle of wine, it's a piece of cheese, it's a salad, it's one of our soups. It's really the mood, and every day is different in Paradise for me. And obviously Tina's been my business partner for 13 years. She probably understands that. Like, yeah, she definitely has a different mood every time she leaves work. So with every mood, we have something that fits it, and we hope that does that for our customers as well. How's that for a little?
I think as long as you come to work with the same mood and the same what is it called, excitement every day, then you're good. How you leave can be different every day.
Every day.
It's okay. That's allowed.
And I heard that they're leaving with a little.
That could be a craft beer. That could be a bottle of wine. That could be a piece of cheese, guys.
That's
That's
right.
a.
I love it.
Jar of nut butter.
A full
Oh
jar.
yeah, the honey butter. Oh my God, the honey butter. That's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, that is pretty stupid.
And for all those listening, you can go to paradisepantry.com, check out what their current offerings are, or walk in the door and find out all these beautiful retail items on the shelf, including that nut butter they're talking about. I feel like maybe you guys should put like a little virtual tour of your shelving and be like, I love this item. I take this item home. I want more of this item, because I would like those little plastic baskets at the Trader Joe's. I would have like 2 or 3 people helping me carry that thing, because it'd be so full of all these delicious products we're talking about.
We have,
Yeah, I have
that
that problem.
Instagram happening with that kind of. So stay tuned on Instagram for those what the market and the front of the house is getting excited about when it comes to the market, and for those little goodies for every mood that you might be in, you know.
Before we close out, because I think I personally want to give a shout out to all your staff. Again, we've had a lot of fun tonight, but in all seriousness, we've talked about the makeup of your staff, those individuals who have stuck with you, endured the last 3 months of this uniqueness and all these crazy pivots and decision-making. How much input does your staff have into the products you're offering or how you run the business? How much empowerment do you give to the team to keep Paradise Pantry brand running?
Wow, so much. For me, in the kitchen, my staff they're my right hands. I am constantly referring to them, and if they weren't here to help us through this time, we had to lose a lot of people because of their situation. So we have a pretty small staff at the moment, and they're very dedicated, and I'm grateful for them every day, and they help me in so many different ways. They're really the unsung heroes, like, out there for me, you know, doing this every day and needing their support. For the front of the house, I know, Tina, you can.
Yeah, I always tell people, it's like, if they're not excited about it, it's really hard to sell. So, our staff, I'm always open to what they're into and what they like and their thoughts on things, and encourage them to try stuff, take things home. And, you can't sell something that you don't love. So, they're a huge part of, what we continue to carry, and, thoughts on what we might, things we might need to bring in and switching up. And again, we wouldn't be open and have survived the last 3 months without the handful of people that, have come in every day to, not knowing exactly what we were going to do for the day and just being flexible and being able to work with us. It's been awesome to have that kind of support and, family vibe where everybody's just there to try to make it work. So they are awesome. And like I said, we wouldn't be at the level of Paradise that we are right now if it wasn't for the crew that we had.
And I think that's what I hear so much in your voices too, is just the appreciation of everyone who's in that space and continuing to do that. It's, it sounds like it's a family too. I mean, of
Absolutely
these shared experiences that you have the whole way through.
I think that's a great place to transition. Tina, Kelly, thank you so much for being on tonight with Paradise Pantry.
Thank you very much.
If you haven't found a way to learn about Paradise Pantry and what they're offering, please go to paradisepantry.com. Check them out on Instagram. If nothing else, if you're not in the area and you can't get product from Paradise, you got to go to their. Yes, the excitement from the dog is just reinforcing how great of an interview this was tonight. Yes, thank you to all the pedals out there barking for Paradise Pantry. You got to go to their Instagram account, because if you don't have access to their product, if you can't get here to Ventura and actually buy something from them, at minimum, you can find inspiration in what cheese plates are coming out of the kitchen, the killer mac that's showing up, and the staff that's really reinforcing that customer engagement at the market. Check out paradisepantry.com and their Instagram account, Paradise Pantry. Tina, Kelly, thank you so much for being on tonight. Really appreciate you spending some time with us.
Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Joby, Jason, and I wanted to encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and Facebook page at Happy Hour Again, and follow us on Instagram at happyhour_again.
What is happening? All right, well, I guess this is our last call. Technical difficulties.
So be it. We're still recording on Zoom. We'll make this last call means something. I don't know what happened to the go live now on Facebook. It doesn't like us, but Joby, you and I, we're going to banter. We're going to have a good time. I've got a little beer left from Seaward Brewing. I already finished all my wine from Paradise Pantry. I will sleep like a baby tonight. I don't know about you, Joby.
Yeah, you know what? I really enjoyed the conversation tonight, and I did not get a second beer. So,
Do you need a moment?
No, I'm good. I think I'm okay. I think the tiredness is setting in, so I think I'll be sleeping just fine.
Fair enough. And Mr. Curtis, he just messaged me, Mr. Bombay Sapphire drinker, which I can appreciate and respect. He said, I'm totally booted and I'll join ASAP. I'm not crossing my fingers, nor am I holding my breath. Oh, ding dong.
God. What is happening? All right, well, I guess this is our last call. Technical difficulties.
So be it. We're still recording on Zoom. We'll make this last call mean something. I don't know what happened to the go live now on Facebook. It doesn't like us, but Joby, you and I, we're going to banter. We're going to have a good time. I've got a little beer left from Seaward Brewing. I already finished all my wine from Paradise Pantry. I will sleep like a baby tonight. I don't know about you, Joby.
Yeah, you know what? I really enjoyed the conversation tonight, and I did not get a second beer. So,
do you need a moment?
No, I'm good. I think I'm okay. I think the tiredness is setting in, so I think I'll be sleeping just fine.
Fair enough. And Mr. Curtis, he just messaged me, Mr. Bombay Sapphire drinker, which I can appreciate and respect. He said, I'm totally booted and I'll join ASAP. I'm not crossing my fingers, nor am I holding my breath. Oh, ding dong.
Got the mugshot.
Ding dong. Curtis Taylor has arrived.
Headshot.
Hashtag headshot. That's the name of tonight's last call. Hashtag headshot.
All right.
So I agree with you, though, Joby. Recapping tonight's segment, I really enjoyed the conversation and the banter with Kelly and Tina from Paradise Pantry. You know, a couple of things that stood out for me is, one, being rooted and passionate about delivering quality product to your community. When we talk about food service and restaurants, sometimes, you know, I look around and I think people are just slinging slop for a fast buck. And that's not across the board. Let me clarify and put out the local precursor.
Not naming names, I got you. We're keeping it generic.
Yeah, keep it in generic. You know, the people that I've seen really remain a fixture of my community, having lived here in Ventura almost 16 years, and even thinking back to my community in Michigan City, Indiana, some of the brands that are still holding strong, it's those individuals who say, I am dedicated to providing the quality and the expectation that people have come to know. And I put you and Barrel House 101 right in that same conversation, because people know what to expect. They walk in the door, and right now what's unique, and I think why I'm bringing this up, is walking in the door doesn't mean physically walking in the door. For you, that means a freaking Oktoberfest big white tent with tables outside in the parking lot. But they know, and I know as a customer as of last Saturday, know what to expect when I walk through. It doesn't matter if I'm in the physical building or if I'm in the parking lot. I know what Barrel House is about. And I think Kelly and Tina really touched on that with Paradise Pantry.
Yeah, it was definitely, I mean, it was I don't know if risky is the right word, but it was a risky proposition, right? Like, we're going to take the experience that's normal inside. And I love the building that we're in. I really enjoy walking into my own place for whatever reasons, selfish or not, but I enjoy it. And so how can we take that now and say, so for us, it was a decision about how many people can we serve. We were one of the later people to open, and truthfully, we studied other people's models and what they were doing, because nobody knows what the hell is really going on. Just like our guest said, that every day they're trying to figure something out. So we knew that if we kept the inside, and you know, part of Barrel House's charm was that it was loud and everybody was close to each other. Servers, I mean, I don't know. Hopefully I can't get in trouble for this now, but it was crowded, and servers would have to bob and weave through places through customers and all that. And so thinking about not being able to have that, and then having people wait outside to get in because are only at half capacity. I drew upon our years of festival experience, and I have to give a big shout out to Ventura Rental, Heidi from Ventura Rental. I was already looking for a tent, and serendipitously she posted and reached out to all of us about providing a tent. As people have had to pivot, so there are no events right now. Like they are an event rental company, and their big one of the year that we all love and know is Casa Pacifica. So they were not doing anything with their stuff, and so it all came together. And I think if I had never done something like this in my life, it would have been a lot scarier. But it just felt right. Like, let's have. I keep saying party because I just feel like it is. I know it's a cautious party. It's socially distanced party, but it feels great out there to me at least. And the guests. Is partying bad? I don't know. Is partying bad right now?
No, I don't think it's bad because I think it speaks to the mentality. Even if you can't have the traditional party, I have a friend, and not to get deep and weird in the last call, because last call is supposed to be fun and loose after we've had a few drinks. But honestly, I've got a friend who on his mirror, he's written every day he follows it. It says, find the gratitude and lose the judgment. And that's really the way I'm trying to live my life right now, because things are wonky and there's things that are abnormal for me and things I want to be pissed off and frustrated about. But there's also moments in the day where like today I took a run at 4:30 and there was something so relaxing and beautiful about the way the ocean was, splashing against the rocks and the people that are out there surfing. And it's like, you know what? Things are weird. Things are abnormal. I'm not accustomed to them. They're not comfortable, but they could be a hell of a lot worse. And, I felt the same way when I was sitting at Barrel House last Saturday when you guys first opened. The day you opened, I was there 15 minutes after the grand reopening in the parking lot. It's like, you know what? I've got a burger and I've got a beer and the sun is shining and there's some people that want to be out supporting this. And I feel pretty good. And that made all the difference for me.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think last Monday I said it, and I went to my first indoor restaurant, and the experience was fine because it was such a small place that they were able to make it work for us. I have yet to go to a bigger indoor restaurant, and it's not because I'm scared or anything like that. It's just that I know I've heard of people getting their temperature taken, and there's nothing wrong with any of this stuff, but the experience of hospitality, and we're all doing what we have to do, but starting off with that and taking your temperature and these things that you have to do, it's made it a whole new world. And you're right. And a menu, a digital menu. And so I don't know, it felt good to get everybody outside. We're able to fit a good amount of people we've been able to get people in and get a drink on their table in times that we've never been able to do before because of the new service model and because of the way that that we're running it. It's actually more efficient, and people can be outside. They can actually see somebody 6 feet away from them. I mean, people are reacquainting themselves with other people. It's been great. So I think it's great. I think the downtown Main Street is awesome. Then that idea is great.
And I like what you're saying too, because it brings to mind about the abstract quality, right? You're trying to think outside the box. How do we make this work? I commend those businesses and individuals who are saying, we have a loyal following, just like Kelly and Tina tonight with Paradise Pantry. They say, we have a loyal following and we're dedicated to providing them what they've come to expect. If you can make that happen, roll with it. Another gentleman, Hutton from Caribbean Haven. We have a mutual friend and an employee, Bridge, who went to work for them for a while, turned me on to the quality and the uniqueness of the menu. Hutton is doing things because he loves providing his style of food to the community. And I felt that. And I think that's a big piece that is sometimes overlooked. The feeling of going into a restaurant or a bar or an establishment that I'm comfortable with and I've become really acquainted with and understand it to be part of my normalcy helps me through my day. And I went in the other day and I got some delicious pork skewers from Hutton and the Caribbean Haven here in Ventura. And I was like, man, that just tasted delicious. It made my day. And I felt the same way when I got wings and a burger from 2686. I felt the same way when I sat at the table for Barrel House 101 with a beer and a burger there. And it's like, things are screwy and wonky right now, but I feel okay because this is something familiar to me. And that can't be overrated. That can't be overlooked, in my opinion. I hope I'm not speaking
I think
too far away from what you're feeling.
We were all yearning for that, and it's not the same. It's the new. I hate saying new normal. It's the new way.
Oh, I hate that phrase because it's not normal until you've lived it for an extended period of time.
Although we're getting close to living it for an extended period of time.
Well, so what defines an extended period of time, Joby?
Define extended period of time, exactly. I would say this: we've lived it so much now that it feels like there was nothing before this. I mean, I think that's extended period of time.
Damn you, coronavirus!
We have all these conversations. I mean, just like Kelly and Tina, like, hey, you guys remember how before this, like, this is what we used to do? Oh my God, this is what you did, and just all the different things. But I don't know. I think I would sum it up as saying it's nice to see some normalcy out there, and I love driving down. I mean, I drove down Main Street, I think it was Saturday, and it's awesome to see it, alive. I understand we're still, for all the people out there, we're still in a pandemic. I understand that.
We love you, LA.
We're still in a pandemic, and coronavirus is still around. Nobody's doubting that. But if everybody's taking their precautions and still trying to have a little bit of life, kudos to them, and I don't blame them.
All right, so let's shift real quick before we close out last call. You've been open barely a week, pinch over a week at this point. What's something that you're doing now that you look back and be like, damn it, we should have done that sooner? And then similar to what you asked Kelly and Tina earlier, what's something you're going to hold on to? You're like, man, this actually is pretty good for our business model. We're going to hold on to this.
Something that a lot of people may not like to hear, but it's something that a lot of my what do you call it? People in our line of work are doing a smaller menu, smaller menu, and something that's executable and do it right, and just keep it nice and tight.
Long term, you're not getting rid of short rib poutine, are you?
Well, right now, it's not on there, but
I know it's not on there, but will it come back?
Yeah, probably. But
I want a short rib poutine with a fried egg, for Christ's sake. Joby, make it happen.
Short rib poutine, much like Kelly was saying, is very easy to assemble, but before it gets made, it takes a long time to make it. So it's kind of similar to what she said. It's easy to put it together and send it out, but it takes
a lot of effort to get it to the steam table.
We don't even want to talk about beef and prices of beef.
Dude, as a salesman for a food distributor, beef right now is through the freaking roof. Yeah.
Hot beef talk, but yeah, smaller and also
wait, hot beef talk. Can that be one of our segues for future shows? Can we do some hot beef talk?
Wow, they really got into some hot beef talk on that last call. Beef prices.
Where is Curtis when we need him? Curtis, where are you for the hot beef talk?
Oh, wait. Oh, something happened.
There he is. Oh, my God. So Curtis just appeared for the hot beef talk.
It's a hot beef talk with a frozen Curtis. So
that is definitely got to be an outtake. For Christ's sake, can you record and clip that appropriately?
I was debating on whether or not to come back because who the fuck knows what's going to happen here in about 4 seconds. So I'm like, no, I'm going to let you. But I could not let hot beef talk go.
Hot beef talk. Beef prices are on the rise.
I'm just thinking of a little old lady. And
Curtis, have we told you lately that we love you?
Right. That's right. The lady, where's the beef?
Where's the beef? Hot beef talk. Beef cakes, all in that same vein of frozen Curtis right there. Boom.
No pun intended.
You came back right on time to deliver the hot beef talk.
You're the man, Curtis.
Well, when you
are the man.
two dish it up to me like that, I can't resist. So.
Oh man.
So before we get ready to close out, Curtis, what's your take? What was your take on the episode tonight? But what is your take on how we move forward? What's the landscape looking like?
In terms of
Life. Whoa, sorry. Life.
You could be as aggressive as you'd like, Curtis, or you can be as generic as that mumbled whatever sound that just came through.
In terms of pandemic life and eating out, or just happy hour and last call in general.
Where's your heart, Curtis? Get real with us.
I don't feel like I want to end on a downer, so I'm just gonna say my heart is hopeful for hot beefcakes and frozen Curtis all around.
All right.
I listened to Gavin Newsom today, so I'm a little more pessimistic about everything. So.
And similar to the Hair Club for Men, Curtis not only listens to Happy Hour again as a consumer of this crazy podcast, but he's also a host.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Happy Hour. We'll be back next week with more questionable content, great guests, and drinks all around.